Good morning, YouTubers. This is the big day with the elderberry wine. This is the day, really, day one, when we're going to pitch the yeast. But before I get there, I just want to show you what I was able to find, although it is broken, is my specific gravity or balling sugar scale. This is the bottom part. You can see this is the part that has the weight in the bottom. And how this works is if it was intact, it would sink depending on the gravity of the solution, and to the level determines how much, how much particulate matter is in how much sugar rather is in the solution, dissolved in the solution. So, and that however level it sinks, it raises on this scale right here to tell you. Actually, I think I've got that backwards. There, that's how it would be if it was working. And I'm trying to remember, I'm thinking that I started off at somewhere like maybe between 15 and 20, maybe it was 13, I can't remember without my logbook, on the scale, when you first put all the sugar in. And then of course as it goes on up the scale and gets more to this end, to the 0, then you know that your wine is pretty much done. So that's how it would work if it was working. I am just having a bad day this morning. I was going to put a little pinch of sugar in with the yeast that I've dissolved in some warm water, and of course it's a little bit humid today, it's raining outside, and so I banged the sugar jar on the table, and the bottom broke, shattered, glass and sugar everywhere. Oh my, it's just one of those days. But I couldn't find the log either, so I've started a new one, and it's just to kind of show you what I was talking about earlier. I've put out, you can do this however you want, this will be your log. But I put elderberry in the year, because that's how I'll identify the batch. When I put labels on, I'll put elderberry and then the year. And then I put my recipe in there, and a correction, I think I wrote on my YouTube video that it's 3 tablespoons of yeast nutrient. It's not, it's 2 tablespoons, so just a correction there. And see, this is all that I've already told you. Now here's what I do. Day 1, and you can do this how you want to do, and I measure the temperature, ambient temperature of the room, and also temperature of the solution, the wine. And then I won't be able to put, this is my specific gravity column, I won't be able to put a reading in there today because my scale is busted. And then I put notes. And today is the day that I'm pitching my yeast. So that's the day 1 on my log. Now let me show you the type of yeast I chose to use. There are many different kinds, and Montrachet is one you'll see a lot. It's in a red package. There's nothing wrong with that. However, the last time I used this particular kind, I got a wine with very high alcohol content. So, and I kind of like that. So I guess this yeast probably more resistant to being killed off by the alcohol, so you get a more stouter wine. So anyway, I'm going to work last time. I'm going to try it again. I know it says Côte de Blanc. I know a little French. I know that means white. I hope this doesn't mean it's intended for white wine. But as I said, it worked last time, so that's what I'm going to use. And how you start your yeast off is you get some warm distilled water, and you put it in a little cup or jar. Not very much. It doesn't really matter how much. I think I have maybe 1/3 of a cup of water. It doesn't really matter. Sprinkle the yeast on it and put like a pinch of sugar in there to get them going. Okay, so that's that, and you can see it's foaming. And nice thing about starting it this way, instead of just trying to spread the yeast on the top of the dry yeast on top of the wine, is you can see you have evidence now that at least at the start the yeast was working. You can see the foam, so you know it's good yeast. All right, so we're going to open up our vat and we'll see what's inside. Okay, and you can see that already, even though it's just been one day, there's quite a nice color in the vat. Here is the bag that's got the fruit in it. You can see that there. I'm trying to keep that down to low water. I'm also trying to keep my hands out of this because this is sterile. Well, close to. Theoretically, anyway. So, all right, I'm going to put that aside. And now what I'm going to do, I can't check the specific gravity. If I had the scale, I would just drop it down in the vat and let it float and then take a reading. But I can take the thermometer reading, so that's what I'm going to do. This is a very cheap thermometer. It's nice, it's digital, it's instant. Got it at Walmart. I hate Walmart, but you know, sometimes that's where you have to go. And so you can see that the ambient room temperature today is 75.2 degrees in the house, and that's good. At the outset, I told you you didn't want it too cold because the yeast won't work, but you also don't want it too hot because they go into overdrive, and you've got a mess, a foamy mess on the floor, and a real heavy yeast taste to your wine. So this is perfect temperature. God willing, it'll stay there. All right, now let's see what the temperature of the wine is, or the must, as we call it. I'm going to put that down in there. And I'm getting a reading of about 72 degrees. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. What you don't want is for it to get below 60 degrees, because if it's below 60 degrees, it's just going down to 671 now. It's not going. The yeast is not going to ferment well. And so that's why, you know, I heat with wood, and I've got cold spots all over the house. And in the summertime, I don't have air. Well, I do have air conditioning. I'm just too stubborn to use it. So the house is warm. That's why I wait until the fall, because your fruit is ready at that time, and also the temperatures are moderate enough where you can get some good wine. So that's it. So I'm going to record those readings on my logbook in just a second. But now we'll pitch the yeast, and let me show you how we're going to do this. Now the temptation is to just stir this yeast into the vat. But what you do is you pour it all into one place in the vat, and you let the yeast spread out how they want to. I guess yeast are kind of social animals, or they're just very tender when they're all by themselves. They kind of grow colonies. They're sturdier in colonies. So you want to pour the yeast in one place in the vat and make them all go there. And that's it for day one. Do want to send thank yous to Orange Crash. He saw my first video and commented that elderberries were good antiviral agents. And I thought, huh. And so I went to go look this up in my home remedies book, and sure enough. And so here I am with the flu coming, and I've got a really potent antiviral home remedy here. Don't know about how much the wine would help. I imagine some, but based on what was in my book and what Orange Crash told me, I'm going to head to make some elderberry syrup, which I'll then bottle up and keep as a remedy. I understand if you take a tablespoon up to 3 times a day in flu season, that'll protect you from getting the flu. So very, very timely information. Thank you very much. So that's what I'm going to do. After I get done here, I'm going to go ahead and bottle up some syrup. Maybe I can sell it at farmer's market. And Lord knows I need the money. I'm a researcher by trade and just lost a contract, so I'm down to 10 hours of work a week. So thank God I have the farm. I'll never starve to death. Anyway, all for now. Bye.